Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis rocked by 3 homicides in less than 3 hours. And Premier Brantley discloses details of concession agreement with B&L Worldwide Limited. Regionally, woman charged with child stealing. Internationally, Airbus scraps A380 Super Jumbo jet as sales slump. And in sports, Rockets James Harden ties with Will Chamberlain's record. We'll have the details in these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and all the national news in detail. About 9 hours after Veer Amory was shot and killed in Sandy Point, St. Kitts on Wednesday evening, another man was shot and killed in St. Johnson's Village just after 4 a.m. today, Thursday, 14th February. Joel Philip, a.k.a. Boyaka, was shot multiple times at his home by unknown assailant at his home. And Gavin Rogers was shot and killed just before midday in Old Road. This brings to 7 the number of homicides for the year. Police are investigating these incidents. Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, has been providing details of an agreement signed between the Nevis Island Administration and B&L Worldwide Limited. The concession agreement, which was signed on February 6, 2019, will see the company undertake development work at the facility. Since this was announced last week, the NIA has been accused of not consulting with the Nevisian public on what is said to be a major project. Speaking during his weekly radio program on the Mark, here on VON Radio on Wednesday evening, Premier Brantley spoke to some aspects of the agreement.
The agreement contemplates that the concessionaire shall design and construct, thereafter maintain and operate all phases of the project to international standards, so as to attain a Category 1 rating by the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, under the International Aviation Safety Assessment Program, and shall from time to time provide the administration with all the plans, designs, consult with us, consult with NASPA, and also consult with you, the members of the public.
He also spoke of what he said was a safeguard in the agreement.
They must, within 6 months, demonstrate that they have the full financing in place. We understand that this was a condition for them now to go and have their backers engage with the financing of the project. We have given them a 6-month window in order to do that. If that is not done, then we have reserved the right to terminate at that point in time.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. The general public will on Friday, 15th February, get a first-hand experience of what the National Weight Loss Campaign is all about. The Fit Wellness Park at Bath Plains will be the venue for the launch of that campaign, which is organized by the Fit Wellness Center in collaboration with the Ministry of Health here in Nevis.
What registrants can expect at this event is they will have an opportunity to meet the support team, which is a group of doctors, nutritionists, and even the psychologists, fitness experts who came together to support the registrants on their weight loss journey. We can also be revealing the weight loss results of the ministers who has been leading this campaign. And of course, I think everyone should know that would be Honorable Eric Evelyn and Honorable Hazel Brandy. So we can be revealing how much weight they have lost since they have been leading this campaign. It's been about a month now since they've been actually on the program. Sharon Brantley as well is part of those persons who are leading the charge. So we're going to be doing their weigh-in at the event and revealing their results.
Mr. David Wowin of the Fit Wellness Center. 175 persons have registered so far for the 6-month campaign. A community enhancement and beautification competition was launched at Stonefort Estate Yard next to Bloody River by the Skills Training Empowerment Program, STEP. According to Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for the STEP, Osbert de Souza, the competition's goal is to showcase the skills of people working on STEP community enhancement groups. The Community Enhancement and Beautification Competition will be held among the different communities, which include Stonefort, Sandy Point, Keyon, Lodge, Cannery, Molyneux, and Saddlers. Other objectives of the competition are to enhance and beautify the environment at or near sites of national significance, to promote a sustainable approach to the community enhancement program of the country, and to increase public awareness of the role and impact of the community enhancement teams that are involved in the STEP to provide a safe and uplifting environment to support the tourism industry. The event is part of activities on the calendar of events marking STEP's 2nd anniversary, which is being observed under the theme, Showcasing Skills, Empowering People for Life. Although last year's hurricane season was above average, persons here on Nevis are still experiencing difficulties with regards to repairing their properties. After the passage of the 2017 hurricanes Irma and Maria, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis embarked on a program dubbed the Hurricane Home Rehabilitation Program, which was designed to assist persons whose homes were damaged by the storms. Many persons benefited from the program in St. Kitts, but questions arose as to whether Nevisians would benefit from the program. Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, stated on Wednesday night during his On the Map program on Vaughan Radio that provision has been made to assist Nevisians.
The federal government last year, December, would have released some funds to the Nevis Island Administration from the proceeds of the Citizenship by Investment program, and those funds were designed to cover the damage that was reported by the Nevis Disaster Management to NEMA. We are cognizant that some people have availed themselves of other avenues to fix their premises, whether through insurance, through the duty-free and other concessions that the government offered. But there are some who are indigent and who have been unable, even now, to fix the damage caused by the hurricane.
He added that confirmation will be made as to how many persons were affected.
I have asked Minister Evelyn and the good people there at Social Development to check the list of those who had reported damage after the storm, to confirm if there were any of those, and we already have an indication that we have over a dozen, and therefore we hope very shortly to be able to provide the relief to those people. I apologize sincerely that it has taken this long, but certainly it was a process that we were engaged in. And so I want to make that abundantly clear that we have received some resources for that purpose and that we have embarked already on the process. Those of you who have been affected, who reported your damage and have not yet been made whole, will be contacted and the government will partner with you.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. 32 university graduates were honored at the first congratulatory reception for university graduates hosted by Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, and First Lady Mrs. Sharon Brantley. The event was held on the grounds of Government House at Bellevue on February 9, 2019. Premier Brantley described the ceremony as a simple but significant one, as it marks a milestone in the lives of 32 of the island's youngsters. He said it speaks volume when an island of the size of Nevis could celebrate so many young graduates at one time. 12 honorees, 10 females and 2 males graduated with master's degrees in the areas of industrial and organizational psychology, Doctor of Medicine, Management, Midwifery, etc. 20 honorees, 13 females and 7 males, graduated with bachelor's degrees in the areas of management, finance, general chemistry, pharmacy, business administration, psychology, business management, accounting, etc. Meantime, Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, has called on returning university graduates to inspire other young people on the island to pursue tertiary education. the minister noted that there are many scholarships made available by various organizations and governments. And finally, Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris extended his heartfelt condolences to the family and loved ones of Dr. Ian Jacobs, MBE. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris said of Dr. Jacobs that he was a very competent and caring pediatrician who took a devoted interest in his patients' growth, development, and family life. Dr. Jacobs worked in St. Kitts and Nevis, caring for hundreds of children, and served occasionally at the Joseph N. France General Hospital since 1990 as the sole pediatric practitioner for over 28 years. Dr. Ian Jacobs graduated with his Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery MBBS degree from the University of the West Indies at Mona, Jamaica in 1980. From 1980 to 1982, he was an intern and senior house officer at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Barbados. While there, he did additional rotations dealing with accident and emergency A&E conditions of the ear, nose and throat, ENT, and orthopedics. He then assumed the post of District Medical Officer for the Molyneux District in St. Kitts and worked in general medicine and pediatrics at Joseph N. France General Hospital in Barstow. Dr. Ian Jacobs, MBE, passed away at the age of 63 last evening, February 13th. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio and our Von Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
Home. It means something different to everyone. It's a place you love, a place as unique as you are, a place where you can be yourselves, a place for life's big surprises, and not to mention the small ones. Moments to cherish and moments that last a lifetime. It's a place for nurture and a place where you can grow together. It's home. So whether you're building, purchasing, or renovating, the Bank of Nevis is here to open the door, giving you the confidence to dream and the help you need to get there with a mortgage loan from the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Welcome back, and now the regional news in detail out of Jamaica. A woman who was held with a stolen baby last week has been charged. Peter Gray French, 27, of Harkers Hall, St. Catherine, was charged with child stealing late Monday evening. French was arrested last Tuesday after she went to the Registrar General's Department in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine, in an attempt to have the baby registered. Officials at the department grew suspicious after noticing discrepancies with the documents she submitted. A DNA test later confirmed that the baby belonged to Sinclair Hutton and Suzette White, whose baby was snatched from the Victoria Jubilee Hospital on January 9th. The 1-month-old boy was on Friday reunited with his parents. Also out of Jamaica. As Jamaica records 6 confirmed dengue deaths so far this year, all of the victims being children under the age of 14, Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton is seeking to assure Jamaicans that there is an adequate supply of medication to treat the dengue outbreak. He said there is no shortage of medication in the public or the private health system. Addressing the House of Representatives, Dr. Tufton noted that the stock level of certain drugs continues to be monitored, including paracetamol tablets, paracetamol syrup, oral rehydration products, and intravenous fluids. Providing an update of the dengue outbreak affecting the island, the minister said more than $600 million has been allocated in response to the outbreak. Dr. Tufton said for the month of February, the ministry will continue to work with regional and international collaborators to sustain the ramped-up vector control management, public education, and clinical management. The health minister noted that as at Friday 8th, the ministry classified 1,166 suspected, presumed, or confirmed cases with dates of onset in 2019. Out of Haiti. At least 6 people have died in nearly week-long protests demanding that President Jovenel Moïse resign in Haiti, which saw fresh tensions and a major prison break on Tuesday. All 78 detainees at the prison in Aquin, a city of around 100,000 on the south coast of the country's Tiburon Peninsula, escaped around midday, a national police spokesman said. The exact circumstances of the prison break are unclear, but witnesses said it took place during an anti-Moïse demonstration in front of the police station adjoining the penitentiary. Some 200 kilometers north of the prison, Port-au-Prince, also saw clashes between police and hundreds of protesters in working-class neighborhoods. Thousands of people took to the streets. After police forces dispersed them, some set fire to cars and looted stores to express their mounting frustrations over growing social inequalities worsened by systematic corruption. A youth was also shot dead at a crossroads near the presidential palace. The former French colony is in the grip of a political crisis that has seen citizens demonstrate in the capital Port-au-Prince and elsewhere over the last week to demand Moïse's resignation. And finally, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has praised the Barbados government for its execution of the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation BIRD plan, which is funded by a U.S. $290 million Extended Fund Facility, EFF, from the Washington-based financial institution. An IMF mission said in a statement issued on Tuesday that the Mia Mottley-led administration had met all indicative targets up to the end of last year. Head of the team, Bert Van Selm, said Barbados continues to make good progress in implementing its ambitious and comprehensive economic reform program. As the IMF pointed out that the targets for primary surplus of income needed to pay back its debt were all met by a wide margin. The IMF added that a detailed assessment of the budget will be made when it is finalized. It also suggested that government is well on the way to striking a deal with international creditors following its decision to default on those payments last June. The team will return in May to conduct the discussions for the first review under the EFF, which was approved last October. That's it for Original Stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and now the international news in detail. European aircraft manufacturer Airbus has pulled the plug on its struggling A380 Super Jumbo, which entered service just 12 years ago. Airbus said the last deliveries of the world's largest passenger aircraft, which cost about $25 billion to develop, would be made in 2021. The decision comes after Emirates, the largest A380 customer, cut its order. The A380 faced fierce competition from smaller, more efficient aircrafts and has never made a profit. The chief executive officer, Tom Enders, said that Airbus was 10 years too late in bringing the plane to the market, and ending production was a painful decision.
I use the word painful, and I mean it. Certainly painful to take the decision after all the effort, after all the money, after all the sweat that many, many thousand employees have poured into that program. But in business, we have to base our decisions not on emotions or wishful thinking, but on facts.
Parents should not be complacent about the risk of teenagers using cannabis, experts are warning. UK and Canada researchers said they had found robust evidence showing using the drug in adolescents increased the risk of developing a depression in adulthood by 37%. They said the findings should act as a warning to families who saw cannabis use as part of the growing up process. The team added that the developing brain was particularly susceptible. Around 1 in 9 young adults and teenagers use the drug each year in England and Wales. The Queen's husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, will not face prosecution over his road crash near the Sandringham estate, the Crown Prosecution Service (CPS) has said. The 97-year-old voluntarily gave up his driving license on Saturday after his Land Rover Freelander collided with another vehicle in Norfolk last month. He later apologized to the occupants of the other car, 2 women and a baby. The CPS said it decided that it would not be in the public interest to prosecute the Duke. The Duke escaped injury after his vehicle landed on its side following the collision with a Kia on 17th January on the A149 near the Queen's Country Estate. 2 days later, Norfolk police gave him suitable words of advice after he was pictured driving without a seatbelt. And finally, the U.S. Secretary of State, Mr. Mike Pompeo, has called for a new era of cooperation to resolve conflict in the Middle East. Addressing representatives from more than 60 countries meeting in Poland, he said they had to work together for security in the region. He added that the dinner on Wednesday was a good start.
They all came together for a single reason, to discuss the real threats to our prospective peoples emanating from the Middle East. The composition of that dinner reflects President Trump's diplomatic commitment to bring nations together in new ways to solve old problems. That's our mission today.
That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Hello? Hello, hello?
Yes?
You know when I call you, there's something happening at TDC, right?
Tell me quick.
The TDC Home and Building Depots are showing us love in February. All month long, they're promoting their heart-healthy products. This includes gym equipment, juicers, blenders, yoga mats, and so on. Plus, every Saturday, you can get your free in-store heart-healthy checks done.
Really, girl?
Yes, and keep fit every Tuesday afternoon during their heart-healthy series at the TDC Clubhouse on the Frigate Bay Road. Culturama, body in progress.
Well, I don't want to miss out, so we must go by TDC Home and Building Depot this month.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In basketball, Houston Rockets' James Harden recorded his 31st consecutive 30-point game on Wednesday night, tying Wilt Chamberlain for the second longest streak in the NBA. Harden, 29, the NBA's most valuable player, scored 42 points in a 121-111 defeat by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Chamberlain, who also holds the top position, scored at least 30 points in 65 consecutive games in 1961 to 1962. His run of 31 started that same season. Wednesday night also marked Harden's 22nd 40-point game of the season. No other player in the NBA has more than 7 40-point games. Still in basketball, the Brooklyn Nets beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 148-139 on Wednesday night. Meanwhile, Damian Lillard scored 29 points and the Portland Trail Blazers ended Golden State's 5-game winning streak with a 129-107 victory on Wednesday night. Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry each had 32 points for the Warriors. During that same evening, the Los Angeles Clippers defeated the Phoenix Suns 134-107 on Wednesday night in the team's final game before the All-Star break, Miami Heat beat the Dallas Mavericks 112-101, and the Chicago Bulls beat the Memphis Grizzlies 122-110. The Bulls also won for just the fourth time in 22 games. In cricket, West Indies bowler Shannon Gabriel claims he asked England's Joe Root if he liked boys during the third test, but has apologized for his words. The 30-year-old was charged for the comments he made to skipper Root, who replied, "Don't use it as an insult. There's nothing wrong with being gay." The incident in St. Lucia resulted in a 4-match ODI ban for Gabriel, 13. Gabriel said in a statement, "I know now that it was an offensive, and for that I am deeply sorry." Gabriel said of an exchange that occurred on the third day of the test that it had come during a tense moment on the field. He was charged under Article 2.13, which relates to the personal abuse of a player, player support personnel, umpire or match referee during an international match. He was fined 75% of his match fee and picked up 3 demerit points, taking his overall total to 8 in a 2-year period, which triggered the ban. England won the test by 232 runs, although they had already lost the series, having been beaten in the first 2 tests. And finally, in athletics. Athletics governing body has denied it will tell a court female athletes with high testosterone levels like Caster Semenya should be classified as male. World and Olympic 800-meter champion Semenya is challenging a proposed IAAF rule that claims to restrict the levels of testosterone in female runners. The case will be heard at the Court of Arbitration for Sport CAS next week. The Times reported that IAAF lawyers will say Semenya is a biological male as well as classified as female. The IAAF said it is not classifying any athlete with differences of sexual development, DSD, of whom South African Semenya is the most notable, as male. That's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be partly cloudy in general with a 40% or moderate chance of passing showers. Weather tomorrow will be partly cloudy in general with a 40% or moderate chance of passing showers. Winds are east to southeast at 10 to 18 knots or 19 to 33 kilometers per hour, with higher gusts mainly over coastal waters and elevated terrains. Seas are 1.8 to 2.4 meters or 6 to 8 feet. A small craft advisory remains in effect mainly for the waters east of the islands. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:38 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the mid-news package for today, Thursday, 14th February 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis rocked by 3 homicides in less than 3 hours. And Premier Brantley discloses details of concession agreement with B&L Worldwide Limited. Regionally, woman charged with child stealing. Internationally, Airbus scraps A380 Super Jumbo Jet as sales slump. And in sports, Rockets James Harden ties Will Chamberlain's record. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.